we are going to explore something deeply and darkly profound, and that is the archetypes of the Siren, the vampire, and the succubus. I want to just briefly touch on the lore and mythology. I want to go into the gifts that this can awaken within us, the shadow attributes, the benefits, some things that we can do to help activate this DNA. And then at the end, I'm going to bring up something special that I prepared for you guys. I think you're going to love. It's going to help you awaken these codes. So let's jump into it, shall we? First up, let's explore the Siren, one of the most misunderstood archetypes. The Siren actually began as part divine, part bird, appearing half woman, half bird. This is a Greek personification of the liminal space between air and water, of the allure of beauty, glamour, and magnetism. They were originally the beings that looked after Persephone, like handmaidens of sorts. And when they prevented Persephone's abduction into the underworld by Hades, Demeter, her mother, was so infuriated, so distraught, that she punished them, cursed them by stripping all of their divinity away. Stripped their feathers down, stripped their wings down till they were white and naked. In horror and in devastation, they threw themselves off the cliffs from which they used to sing and into a watery grave, where they became ghost-like sea spirits, never losing their song, never losing their allure, but now using the same ability to lure to death. This is the story of the Siren, a sad tale, but also a tale of feminine power and allure. We can embody this dark DNA archetype within ourselves. But before we get to that, I would like to dive into the myth of the vampire. All vampires, just like all succubus, which we will discuss momentarily, come from the line of Lilith. And Lilith is a very ancient being. In early Jewish mysticism myths, she began as the first woman, cursed by God for wanting autonomy. And in this autonomy, she created the first lineage of vampires, a species that was neither dead nor alive, the living dead. I believe this started when she spoke the name of God and was literally taken out of Eden. She was no longer an ordinary woman. In other myths, she is a vampire, the mother of vampires, the mother of succubi, nocturnal, vicious, predatorial. The vampire is an archetype of the death and rebirth current. The vampire itself, although it has changed forms depending on the cultures around the world, and yes, it exists in almost every culture around the world in one form or another, really symbolizes the death and rebirth cycle, the ability to transform and transmute. In the left-hand path, this is really magnified. When the initiate goes through the left-hand path, he or she learns to collapse their own soul into a black hole, to become magnetic, to be able to literally transmute any energy to feed back into oneself, to shape the energies around, to shape one's own reality. No longer a victim of or imprisoned by life or death. This is the power of the vampire. Sovereignty, self-mastery over all cycles of death and rebirth, transmutation and alchemy. And this leads us to the succubi. The succubus archetype, like the vampire, descends from Lilith. The difference being, while the vampire is a feeder of the life force and a representation of the current of life and death as a cycle, and mastery over life and death and the life force energy, the succubi is mastery over sexual energy, the force of the kundalini itself. The succubi are considered creatures of the night, the children of Lilith, that fed off of the sexual energy and desires of men at night while they were sleeping. Also predatorial, but feeding off of sexual energy instead of blood itself. Another form of vampirism, but a more sexually, energetically charged form of vampirism. She represents the fear that the collective has over female power, female sexual prowess and power and dominion, how the feminine energy controls men by having mastery over herself. She is an echo of the once powerful sacred prostitutes, the priestesses of Inanna and Aphrodite, who literally connected with the great goddess of divine feminine through sexual rites and could heal, create spontaneous kundalini awakenings and so much more when she would do sexual acts with those that would visit the temple. This created fear of the power of women. Just like the vampire represents the fear of the power of autonomy of women, the succubus represents the fear of the power of sexual autonomy of women. All three of these archetypes represent the different power. Women, being sirens as being dangerous because they're alluring, their beauty is dangerous because men will literally do anything for them just to get close to them, just to be in their energetic field. That is the power of the siren. The power to pull, to allure, to magnetize, to glamorize. The power to gaze with her eyes and literally be able to mesmerize anyone. To be able to speak with a certain slow, intentional, honey-dripped tone of voice and have everyone listen. Or perhaps by singing, she'll draw in all those who hear her sweet voice. She has the gift of glamour, the gift of influence, the gift of visibility. Pretty privilege is hers. She knows how to conduct herself energetically in order to attract everything she desires. And in her shadow state, this can be done to the detriment of those who desire her, and even a detriment to herself if she focuses so much on beauty, so much on the outer expression and world that she forgets her own worth. that she becomes obsessed with validation over self-love and self-worth, and that she may look at others as a source of power for her to climb as a ladder instead of connection. However, when these shadow traits are integrated, when she's operating in balance, she is a force to be reckoned with, because she does not have to act. She does not have to force. She does not have to push. She just simply is. She exists. And as she exists, singing her song, beautiful as she is, glamorous, she effortlessly magnetizes and draws what she desires to her. We can learn how to do this through a lot of different rituals, affirmations, meditations, embodiment practices, and more. I'm going to touch on this at the end. When it comes to the vampire has the power over emotional self-mastery because she is detached from emotional entanglement, not because she doesn't care, not because she is cold, but because she has mastered herself. She spends her time and energy only around those whom she desires to emulate or whose frequency she wants to be on or is on, because she understands the power of frequency and energy and embodiment. She knows how to draw in the traits, abilities, and gifts of those around her, not stripping those people of those gifts, but being able to sample, to taste, to take them within her, transmute them and alchemize them into something that is her own. And even more powerful, she has the ability to take in the shadows and the fears of others and transmute them to add to her own power, her own confidence, her own embodiment. She absorbs and transmutes energy to serve herself. She is not afraid because she understands that anything that is sent her way, beneficial or harmful, positive or negative, will always be added to her power, because she has the power of alchemy over all energy to transmute any energy that is coming toward her, that is sent her way, into something that works out for her, that adds to her power. The shadow trait of this is that she could become like an energy vampire, just sucking up and draining and siphoning those around her. She can become selfish to the point of being numb toward others and sociopathic. But when this is integrated, when this is balanced, she is very much like a sovereign sin eater, one who transmutes her own shadow and helps those around her do the same. A catalyst for transformation, change, and evolution. An embodiment of sovereignty, autonomy, and alchemy. Able to be resilient through deaths and rebirths, to come out stronger and more in power as the creator of her reality. There are affirmations, rituals, guided journeys, and different types of embodiment exercises that can help you activate the vampire archetype within your DNA. And again, we will touch on this at the end. Let's move on to Succubus. She is the embodiment of sexual magic, of sexual power, sexual prowess, and sexual sovereignty. She has the ability, at the point of orgasm of herself and those around her, to take that sexual energy into herself and magnetize or magnify anything she desires. She has the ability to create with the sexual energy of creation itself, simply by taking it into herself. She can circulate that energy to clear blockages within her, to increase her willpower, her creative force, her sexual allure and desire. She has the ability to do acts of sex or acts of celibacy that both add to her power. She can choose to refrain from sex and build up her own kundalini, or she can partake in sex and absorb the kundalini of others. She can also help them raise their own kundalini through sexual tantric acts, sex magic, and sex rituals. She has the ability to astral travel and have astral sex, to dream walk. I want to mention that although the shadow traits of her can be nymphomania, overt sexuality, or even vacillating between overt sexuality and complete sexual celibacy, or maybe even having issues with having long-term relationships. When this ability, this archetype is balanced within her and those shadow traits are integrated, she is a powerful force to be reckoned with. Sexy, confident, and with the ability to create using the kundalini force of creation itself. The amazing gifts of these archetypes go way beyond this video, but I just wanted to give you a taste of this dark power. Just a few drips of honey on your tongue. If you want to learn how to activate these currents within you so that you can become beautiful, magnetic, and alluring as a siren, as powerful over life and death, the ability to transmute and alchemize all energy, create your own reality like the vampire, have sexual confidence, power over the currents of sex and life and death, using it to add to your own creative processes, like the succubi, then definitely check out my new ebook. You can pre-order it by clicking on the link in the description below for only $9.99 today. Once I launch the ebook, the price will jump up. In this book, you will receive various rituals, guided journeys, affirmations, and exercises that are designed to unlock this DNA within you. I have designed them myself. I have used them myself. These are channeled and these are practiced. So if this is something that you want to learn how to do, definitely click on the link below to pre-order your copy today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If it resonated with you, stay tuned for more because a lot more is coming. Like this video, share it with whom you feel would benefit. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to my channel. This was a video that you voted on. And if you had not voted on this, make sure to vote for the next round so that you have a voice on what you get to see next. Thank you so much for tuning in, goddesses. Until next time, this is Brianna, the Aligned Empress, signing off.